Chosen one, take a moment to be still. Your presence here is not the result of chance. You were not randomly led to this message. At this very moment, according to God's perfect timing, you have arrived at a divine appointment prepared by the Most High. Perhaps you have been seeking clarity, praying for direction, or waiting for the breakthrough that always seemed just beyond your reach. Today, heaven is answering. The Spirit of the Lord is speaking gently to your heart. You are standing on the threshold of a supernatural season of provision. What has been held back is preparing to be released. What has seemed delayed is drawing near, according to God's perfect plan. The Creator never intended for you to remain bound by endless struggle or defined by seasons of lack. Chosen one, you were created to reflect His abundance, positioned to walk in His provision, and called to steward blessings that bring glory to His name. As Habakkuk 2:3 declares, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it delays, wait for it, because it will surely come. That appointed season is now unfolding before you." The gifts God has placed within you have never been lifeless or forgotten. They are seeds filled with divine potential, waiting for the right moment to flourish. This message is meant to awaken what has been resting beneath the surface, reveal what has been hidden, and bring your heart into alignment with the blessings heaven has already prepared for your life. Chosen one, the first gift the Lord has entrusted to you is the gift of vision. This is far more than natural eyesight. It is a spiritual ability that sets you apart. God has given you the capacity to look beyond what is immediately visible, to recognize possibilities before they become reality, and to perceive His direction when others see only uncertainty, while many focus only on what exists today. You have been called to see what God is building for tomorrow. That vision is not simply imagination, it is a divine gift that allows you to recognize purpose, discern opportunity, and move forward with faith even before the evidence appears. Nurture this gift. Trust the wisdom God places within your spirit, and allow it to guide you toward the future He has already prepared. Where most people see only obstacles, barriers, and closed doors, you see potential, you see hidden opportunities, you see untapped possibilities that heaven itself has reserved for you. This is foresight. Anointed one. This is the ability to imagine what does not yet exist and to believe in its reality before it becomes tangible. And I want you to hear me clearly. Wealth, in its truest form, always begins in the unseen. Every thriving empire, every world-changing business, every great invention that has ever shifted the course of history was once invisible to the physical eye. But it was alive in the imagination of someone who dared to see it. Someone like you. I remember a season in my own life when I was sitting in a small room, bills piled on the table, people around me mocking the dreams I carried. But something inside me refused to let go of what I saw in the Spirit. I could see the manifestation before it arrived. I could feel the weight of the blessing before it touched my hands. And that vision, chosen one, became my compass. It pointed me toward treasures that others walked past every single day without even noticing. That is what your vision does. It acts as a compass pointing toward the treasures of tomorrow that others walk past today. When people laugh at you, when they doubt you, when they dismiss your dreams, it is only because they cannot see what you see. And you must understand this. Their blindness is not your problem. Their lack of vision does not diminish the validity of yours. Guard your vision fiercely. for it is the seed of all wealth. To those who carry this gift, imagination becomes a tool of transformation. Ideas become the purest form of currency. The wealth you are searching for is not out there in some distant place. It is already within your vision, waiting for the courage of action to bring it forth. History has shown us time and time again that those who could see further than their generation, visionaries like inventors, leaders, and entrepreneurs, were the very ones who shifted society and attracted wealth beyond measure. You too carry this ability. Anointed one, you too have been entrusted with the eyes to see what heaven is about to release. But vision without action is only a dream. Vision without faith is only imagination. If you nurture it, if you protect it from doubt, if you act upon it with faith, your vision will draw wealth as surely as light draws the dawn. The Spirit of the Lord is saying to you right now, do not despise the vision I have placed within you. Do not let the voices of the world drown out what I have shown you in secret. For what I have revealed to you is not fantasy. It is prophecy. And prophecy always comes to pass for those who believe. Chosen one. The second gift heaven has placed within you is the gift of discipline. And I need you to pay close attention to this because discipline is the invisible bridge between dreams and reality. It is the reason why some people achieve greatness while others, equally talented, remain stagnant. Without discipline, vision remains nothing more than wishful thinking. With discipline, even the smallest of efforts compound into massive results. Let me be honest with you. Discipline is not glamorous. It is often unseen, quiet, and repetitive. It is the habit of saving when everyone else is spending recklessly. It is the determination to rise early and work on your goals when others choose to sleep. It is the ability to say no to short-term pleasures in order to secure long-term gains. And anointed one, I know this is not easy. I have been there myself. I remember mornings when my body wanted rest, when my mind wanted to escape, when everything in me screamed to give up, but something deeper, something divinely planted, pushed me forward. That was discipline. That was the gift working in me even when I did not fully understand it. And over time, I began to see the fruit. Wealth, whether in finances or in influence, does not grow by accident. It multiplies under the watch of discipline. Think of discipline as a seed planted in the soil of your daily habits. When watered consistently, it becomes a tree of prosperity. Many dream of wealth, but few achieve it because they lack the discipline to follow through. The chosen one, however, carries this as a divine gift. You are equipped with the strength to stay consistent even when motivation fades. You have been given an inner strength that allows you to resist distractions and stay committed to the path you have chosen. When applied to finances, this gift is unmatched. Saving diligently, investing wisely, avoiding unnecessary debt, and controlling impulses all create streams of abundance. Discipline is the gift that turns potential into profit and possibilities into possessions. It is what separates those who almost succeed from those who actually do. And I want you to hear this prophetically. Heaven is watching your daily choices. The Most High is not just concerned with your grand gestures. He is observing your small, consistent acts of obedience. If you master discipline, you will discover that wealth is not a matter of luck, but of consistency and self-control. The world will tell you that success is about being in the right place at the right time. But the truth is, Success is about being the right person in any place at any time. And discipline is what shapes you into that person. It refinesses you. It prepares you. It makes you ready for the wealth that is already on its way to you. Chosen one. The third gift burning within you is the gift of influence. And I want you to recognize something powerful right now. People listen to you, sometimes without fully understanding why. There is a presence about you, an energy that commands attention, a weight in your words that makes others pause. This is not by accident. This is by divine design. Influence is one of the greatest currencies on earth, often more valuable than money itself, because while money can open some doors, influence opens every door. Let me tell you something from my own journey. There were moments when I had very little in my bank account, but I had something money could not buy. I had the ability to move people. I had the ability to speak life into hopeless situations. I had the ability to inspire action where there was only defeat, and that influence, anointed one, became the key that unlocked opportunities I could never have purchased. Influence is the reason why certain individuals rise quickly in business, leadership, or creative spaces. It is not always about what you know, but about the impact your presence has on others. The chosen one's influence is natural. It flows from authenticity, from charisma, from the authority of your spirit. People are drawn to you not just because of what you say, but because of who you are. And when this influence is cultivated, it can be transformed into tangible streams of wealth. In today's world, influence shapes industries, from leaders who guide nations, to entrepreneurs who build movements, to content creators who impact millions through social media. If you learn to package your influence through leadership, through communication, or through platforms, you create opportunities that money alone could never buy. Influence builds trust, and trust builds wealth. But with influence also comes responsibility. When you carry this gift, you must use it wisely. The wrong influence can mislead, manipulate, and destroy. But the right influence can empower, inspire, and transform lives. And heaven is holding you accountable for how you steward this gift. Remember, people do not just buy products. They buy trust. They buy energy. They buy influence. As a chosen one, your wealth is not just in money, but in the ability to move hearts, shift minds, and lead others toward transformation. Influence, if guided with purpose, will draw resources, partnerships, and wealth effortlessly into your life. The Spirit of the Lord is speaking to you right now. You have been given a voice that carries weight. Do not silence it out of fear. Do not hide it out of insecurity. The world is waiting for what you carry. And when you step into the fullness of your influence, heaven will back you with provision beyond your imagination. Chosen one. The fourth gift the Creator has woven into your very being is the gift of endurance. And I need you to understand something critical right now. Most people start with excitement, but stop when challenges arise. They give up at the first sign of resistance. But you, anointed one, are built differently. Endurance is your divine inheritance. It is the ability to continue, to persist, to push forward long after others have abandoned the journey. This gift is priceless in the pursuit of wealth because success is never instant. Every business will have seasons of struggle. Every dream will encounter resistance. Every goal will be tested by delay. Endurance is the secret that separates those who quit from those who win. While others look at storms as signals to retreat, you see them as training grounds to strengthen your spirit. I have walked through seasons where everything in me wanted to collapse. I have faced rejection after rejection, disappointment after disappointment, setback after setback. There were moments when I questioned if I had heard from heaven correctly, moments when the weight of the journey felt unbearable. But something inside me refused to surrender. That was endurance. That was the gift working in me even when I could not see the finish line. And let me tell you, every storm I survived became proof that wealth would eventually bow to my persistence. Endurance makes you unshakable. It allows you to fail and still rise, to face rejection and still move forward, to endure the discomfort of sacrifice while waiting for the reward of abundance. Fortune favors the persistent, chosen one. Think of history's wealthiest individuals. Not all of them were the smartest or the most talented, but they were the ones who endured when others surrendered. They were the ones who kept knocking until the door opened. Endurance transforms temporary setbacks into stepping stones. Each storm you survive becomes proof that wealth will eventually bow to your persistence. As a chosen one, this gift allows you to outlast competitors, survive seasons of drought, and remain standing until the opportunity for breakthrough arrives. Your ability to keep moving forward, even when exhausted, ensures that doors will eventually open. Wealth is rarely handed to the impatient. It is given to those who endure long enough to claim it. And heaven is preparing you right now through every trial, through every delay, through every closed door. Nothing is wasted. Every struggle is training. Every disappointment is redirection. If you embrace this gift, nothing can truly defeat you. The Spirit of the Lord is declaring over you right now, you will not quit. You will not break. You will not surrender because endurance is flowing through your veins like fire. Chosen one. The fifth gift heaven has deposited within you is the gift of wisdom, and I need you to hear this clearly. Wisdom is far more than the possession of information. In today's world, knowledge is everywhere. On bookshelves, online, in classrooms, but wisdom is rare. It is the ability to take knowledge and apply it correctly at the right time. Many people know much, but accomplish little because they lack direction. You, anointed one, have been graced with divine wisdom, the kind that surpasses human understanding and allows you to see beyond the surface of decisions. This wisdom becomes the foundation of wealth, because every breakthrough you desire will require wise choices. Wealth does not come only from hard work. It comes from knowing when to act, where to invest, who to trust, and how to manage what you already have. Wisdom protects you from loss and multiplies what you gain. Think about it. How many people win the lottery and lose it all within years? It is not money they lacked, but wisdom. On the other hand, there are people who start with little, but through wise choices grow their wealth consistently over time. I have seen this in my own life. Chosen one. There were moments when opportunities presented themselves that looked absolutely perfect on paper. The numbers made sense. The people seemed trustworthy. The contract appeared flawless. But something deep within me whispered, "Not yet." That was wisdom. That was the voice of the Spirit protecting me from what looked like a blessing but was actually a trap. And later I would discover that, had I moved forward, I would have lost everything. That inner knowing saved me from devastation. But wisdom does not only protect, it also positions. There were other times when an opportunity seemed risky, when logic told me to wait, when fear screamed at me to stay safe. But that same inner voice said, "Move now." And when I obeyed, doors opened that I could never have forced open on my own. Favor flowed. Provision appeared. Connections aligned. That is the power of divine wisdom. Anointed one. It knows what you cannot see. It perceives what you cannot comprehend. It operates in a realm beyond human calculation. Wisdom turns small resources into lasting abundance. For the chosen one, wisdom is both practical and spiritual. It can whisper "not yet" when the deal looks tempting, and it can nudge "move now" when the opportunity arises. It can guide you to avoid destructive relationships and align with those who elevate your destiny. Every wealthy individual you admire has used wisdom, whether consciously or unconsciously, to navigate their journey. They may call it instinct. They may call it gut feeling. But you know the truth. It is the voice of heaven directing their steps. And here is what I need you to understand. Wisdom is not something you earn through age or experience alone. It is a gift. It is granted by the Most High to those He has chosen, and you carry it right now. You may not always recognize it. You may second-guess it. You may dismiss it as coincidence. But it is there. Chosen one. It is active. It is working on your behalf, even when you do not realize it. If you cultivate and trust this gift, wisdom will not just bring you wealth. It will preserve it for generations. It will ensure that what you build does not crumble. It will guarantee that what you gain does not slip through your fingers. The Spirit of the Lord is speaking to you right now. I am giving you wisdom that the world cannot teach. I am granting you insight that no university can provide. Trust the still, small voice within you. Trust the knowing that rises in your spirit when decisions must be made. That is me guiding you. That is me protecting you. That is me positioning you for wealth that will not fade. Chosen one. The sixth gift that heaven has sealed within you is the gift of creativity. And I need you to understand something powerful right now. You often think in ways the world cannot understand. While others follow patterns, you create them. Creativity is your divine fingerprint. It is the ability to think differently, to solve problems uniquely, to imagine solutions that others overlook. And in a world that constantly hungers for innovation, creativity is wealth. Every piece of art, every groundbreaking technology, every business model that transforms society was born from creativity. This gift makes you dangerous to mediocrity because it ensures you will never be trapped by sameness. Creativity is not limited to the arts. Anointed one. It extends into business relationships, problem-solving, leadership, and innovation. When you use this gift, you position yourself as someone irreplaceable, someone whose ideas carry value. Money always follows creativity because the world is willing to pay for what it does not have. Let me tell you something from my own journey. There was a season when I was stuck following everyone else's blueprint, doing what I thought I was supposed to do, and I was barely surviving. But the moment I began to trust the creative ideas that the Spirit was dropping into my mind, everything shifted. Ideas that seemed strange to others became the very thing that opened doors. Solutions that seemed unconventional became the breakthrough I had been praying for. That is the power of creativity. Chosen one. It sets you apart. The chosen one's creativity gives birth to originality. Whether you are inventing something new, redesigning something old, or simply offering a fresh perspective, Your creativity ensures you will never remain broke. But creativity must be nurtured. It thrives in environments of curiosity, learning, and openness, guarded from the fear of criticism because what others call strange is often the very thing that produces wealth. I have watched people mock ideas that later became million-dollar movements. I have seen the world reject innovations that eventually changed entire industries. Many of the world's richest individuals were once mocked for their ideas, yet their creativity changed industries. If you honor this gift, it will provide not just income, but influence, freedom, and impact. Creativity is the chosen one's golden mind. Limitless, renewable, and deeply rewarding. And here is what heaven is saying to you right now. Do not conform to the systems of this world. Do not shrink your ideas to fit into boxes that others have created. What sets you apart is not a weakness, it is one of the greatest gifts God has placed within you. The qualities that make you different are the very qualities He can use to bring blessing and influence into your life. Your creativity is not an accident. It is a purposeful part of His design, woven into your life with intention. The Most High has entrusted you with ideas and abilities that no one else can express in quite the same way. Stop doubting yourself because your perspective is different. Stop hiding the inspiration God has given you simply because others cannot yet see its value. The world does not need another imitation. It needs the unique person God created you to be. And that is exactly who you are. As you faithfully develop your gifts, they will create opportunities that seem impossible to explain. They will open doors that talent alone cannot unlock. Believe in what God has entrusted to you. Continue refining it, sharing it, and using it with humility. As you remain faithful, heaven will provide the wisdom, favor, and resources needed to bring your vision to life. Chosen one. Another remarkable gift flowing through your life is the gift of spiritual discernment. Give careful attention to this, because it is one of the greatest blessings God has placed within you. Deep inside, there is a quiet conviction, a gentle prompting, and a sense of direction that often cannot be explained with words. Yet it deserves your trust. God has given you the ability to perceive what many overlook. This spiritual awareness serves as a compass, leading you away from harmful paths, while directing you toward opportunities that align with His purpose. It enables you to recognize the right timing, the right relationships, and the right decisions, even when outward circumstances appear uncertain. Many people rely entirely on logic when making important financial or life decisions. Wisdom certainly has its place, but human understanding alone can only see so far. Spiritual discernment allows you to look beyond visible circumstances and recognize the deeper alignment of God's timing and guidance. At times, this gift appears as an unmistakable sense of caution, urging you not to commit to something that seems attractive on the surface, only for you to later realize it would have brought unnecessary hardship. At other times, it inspires you to pursue an idea that others dismiss, only to watch God use that very step of faith to open doors you never imagined possible. I want to share a personal lesson with you. Chosen one. There was a season when I learned that some of life's greatest opportunities are not recognized by outward appearance alone. They are discovered by listening carefully to the quiet direction God places within the heart. When you learn to trust His voice above fear, doubt, and human opinion, you begin walking into the path He has prepared specifically for you. There have been moments in my life when everything on the surface screamed, yes, but something deeper whispered, "No." I remember standing in a room full of people celebrating a deal that was about to be finalized. Everyone was excited. The opportunity looked golden, but my spirit was restless. I could not shake the unease, and against all advice, I walked away and pooled. Months later, I discovered that the entire venture collapsed, taking everyone's investment with it. My intuition saved me, but intuition does not only protect, it also propels. There were times when logic told me to wait, when fear told me to stay safe, when reason told me it was not the right moment. But my spirit said move, and every time I obeyed that inner knowing, breakthrough followed. Doors opened that I did not even know existed. Connections formed that defied explanation. Provision appeared at the exact moment I needed it. That is spiritual intuition. Chosen one. It operates in a realm beyond human comprehension. This gift saves you years of mistakes, losses, and unnecessary struggles. Spiritual intuition is wealth's silent partner. It not only guides you to profit, but also protects you from traps disguised as opportunities. Many wealthy individuals credit their success not only to strategy, but to intuition, the inner voice that directed their steps. For the chosen one, this gift is even stronger because it is divinely aligned. Trust it. Do not second-guess it. The world will call it instinct. You know it is more. When you follow this gift, you walk in divine timing, and wealth flows more easily into your life because you are never where you should not be. The Spirit of the Lord is speaking to you right now. I have given you access to my wisdom. I have connected you to my voice. You do not need to rely solely on human counsel. You have direct access to heaven's guidance. Learn to discern my whisper. Learn to recognize the stirring in your spirit. That is me leading you into wealth, into safety, into destiny. Trust what you feel even when you cannot explain it. Your intuition is my gift to you, chosen one. The eighth gift burning within you is the gift of service. And I need you to understand something that the world often misses. True chosen ones carry the heart of service. This may seem ordinary, but in reality, it is the very foundation of wealth. The world rewards problem solvers. Every successful business, every invention, every innovation exists because someone served a need, solved a problem, or made life easier for others. Service is the invisible magnet that attracts money. The greater your service, the greater your reward. Wealth is simply the byproduct of how many people you impact and how deeply you solve their needs. When you use your skills, gifts, or talents in service to others, you open streams of abundance that never run dry. The chosen one's service goes beyond obligation. Anointed one. It is fueled by genuine compassion and a desire to make a difference. This is why it creates not only wealth, but also legacy. Service builds trust, and trust builds empires. Consider the greatest companies in the world. Their wealth is rooted in service, whether through technology, healthcare, education, or entertainment. They solved problems that millions of people faced, and the world rewarded them abundantly. When you embrace this gift, you stop chasing money and start solving problems, and money chases you. Instead, let me tell you something from my own experience. There was a time when I was obsessed with making money. I was focused on what I could get, what I could gain, what I could accumulate. Every decision I made was filtered through one question: How much will this profit me? And no matter how hard I worked, wealth seemed to slip through my fingers. I was hustling, grinding, exhausting myself. But the breakthrough never came. I was confused. I was frustrated. I could not understand why my efforts were not producing results. But then something shifted. The Spirit of the Lord began to speak to me, and the message was simple but profound. Stop focusing on what you can get and start focusing on what you can give. The moment I shifted my focus from getting to giving, from earning to serving, everything changed. The moment I began asking, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I add value? Doors began to open that no amount of striving could have unlocked. I started using my gifts not to build my own platform but to bless others. I started investing my time not in self-promotion but in serving needs. And Anointed One, I watched as favor began to follow me. Opportunities that I was not even looking for began to find me. People I had never met began to reach out with offers, with partnerships, with resources, and I realized something powerful. When you serve, heaven takes note. When you give, the universe conspires to give back to you. Service also multiplies your impact. When you serve, you touch lives in ways that outlast financial profit. You leave behind not just riches, but memories, gratitude, and honor. The Chosen One's service creates both earthly wealth and heavenly reward. If you cultivate this gift, your financial life will never run dry. For service guarantees relevance, and relevance guarantees wealth. Think about the people who have impacted your life the most. They were not the ones who took from you. They were the ones who gave to you. They were the ones who served you, who helped you, who lifted you when you were down. And you remember them. You honor them. You carry their imprint on your heart. That is the power of service. Chosen One, it creates legacy. It builds monuments in the hearts of people, and those monuments translate into influence, into doors, into wealth. And here is what heaven is declaring over you right now. You were not created to hoard blessings. You were created to be a conduit of blessings. The gifts I have placed within you are not just for your benefit. They are meant to flow through you to touch others. The more you serve, the more I will supply. The more you give, the more I will replenish. You cannot outgive me. Anointed One, stop holding back out of fear of lack. Stop withholding your talents because you are waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. The people who need what you carry are waiting. And as you serve them, as you meet their needs, as you solve their problems, wealth will flow back to you in ways you cannot imagine. This is the divine economy. This is heaven's principle. Those who serve are served. Those who give are given to. Those who bless are blessed. Your service is not a sacrifice. Chosen One, it is a seed, and every seed you plant in the soil of service will produce a harvest of abundance that will astound you. Scripture reminds us in Galatians 6:9, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Do you hear that? At the proper time, not immediately, not always instantly, but at the proper time the harvest comes. And when it comes, it will be so abundant that you will wonder how you ever doubted. So serve. Anointed One, serve with joy. Serve with excellence. Serve with faith. Your willingness to serve is deeply connected to the blessings God desires to entrust to you. Chosen One, although this message is coming to a close, Your journey is only beginning. The 9 gifts we have reflected on: vision, discipline, influence, endurance, wisdom, creativity, spiritual discernment, service, and resilience are not simply inspiring ideas. They are treasures placed within you by God, waiting to be awakened and faithfully developed. You do not have to chase every opportunity with fear or desperation. As you begin to exercise these gifts with faith, humility, and obedience, new opportunities will naturally emerge. Doors that once seemed firmly shut will begin to open. God's provision will appear in ways you could not have anticipated, and your path will become clearer with every faithful step. Remember, true wealth is far greater than financial success alone. It is found in becoming the person God created you to be. It is reflected in the value you bring to others, the lives you influence, and the legacy of faith, integrity, and compassion you leave behind. You were never created merely to survive life's challenges. You were called to flourish in the purpose God has prepared for you. Today, heaven is aligning circumstances according to His perfect plan. If this message has reached your heart at exactly the right time, let it be a reminder that God is already at work in your life. If you would like, share 111 inches the comments as a personal declaration of faith and expectation. Stay connected by subscribing, because this journey of spiritual growth, purpose, and God's provision is only beginning. I speak this blessing over your life. May every gift God has placed within you continue to awaken. May every obstacle standing in your way be removed according to His will. May seasons of waiting give way to seasons of fulfillment. May His provision, wisdom, and favor surround you wherever He leads. Walk forward with confidence. Walk in the authority God has entrusted to you. Walk faithfully in the calling He has placed upon your life. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are deeply blessed. Now go forward with courage, embracing everything heaven has prepared for you, and using every gift for the glory of God and the good of others. Chosen one. Your arrival at this moment is not the result of coincidence. You have been led here according to God's perfect timing, a divine appointment arranged long before you ever pressed play. There is a purpose behind these words reaching you today. In this season, when questions seem overwhelming and resources appear limited, God has not overlooked your situation. He is neither silent nor distant. He is actively at work, preparing something far greater than your eyes can presently see. Perhaps you have wondered why your love for God, your compassion for others, and your faithful service have not yet been matched by financial peace. But receive this truth with confidence. A delay is not the same as a denial. A season of lack is not evidence that God has forgotten you. What seems like waiting is often His way of preparing you for something far greater than you imagined. You are standing at the edge of a divine transition. The blessings God has promised have not been withheld to discourage you, but to shape you into someone who can carry them wisely. Before heaven entrusts greater provision, it first develops greater character. As Habakkuk 2:3 reminds us, the vision awaits its appointed time. It will surely come. That appointed season is beginning to unfold before you. Throughout this journey, God has been strengthening your faith, refining your heart, and aligning your spirit with His purpose. He is preparing you for a level of provision that will not become a burden, but a blessing, one that establishes you firmly in His calling. Open your heart to what He desires to reveal, Because this moment is not simply about gaining new understanding, it is about awakening your faith and preparing you to step into what He has already planned. Chosen one. Allow me to share something from personal experience. There was a season when I believed I was doing everything I knew to do. I remained faithful in prayer, served others with sincerity, and chose obedience, even when giving up would have seemed easier. Yet my circumstances refused to change. Financial pressure remained constant. Opportunities seemed scarce. The doors I hoped would open stayed firmly closed. And the weight of uncertainty continued to grow. Looking back now, I realized that God was not ignoring my prayers. He was preparing me. The lessons learned during that difficult season became the very foundation that allowed me to handle the blessings He would later place in my hands. Sometimes the greatest work God performs is not around us, but within us, shaping our character so we are ready for the future He has already prepared. If that sounds familiar, hear this carefully. Your financial struggle is not evidence that heaven has overlooked you. It is evidence that heaven is working deeply within you. Chosen one. Financial lack is not always a sign of God's absence. Sometimes it is a deliberate tool in His sovereign hand. I know how uncomfortable that truth feels when bills are due and opportunities feel just out of reach. But God never uses lack to destroy His anointed. He uses it to develop them. Being broken in provision is often part of a divine design, shaping your character, your discernment, and your dependence before releasing what you are destined to carry. There is a dangerous lie circulating in spiritual spaces that if you are faithful enough, money will instantly follow. But Scripture and lived experience tell a deeper story. The Israelites did not survive the wilderness through wealth. They survived through daily provision. Manna fell one day at a time, teaching them trust instead of control. In the same way, God often withholds excess so your spirit learns to rely on Him as source, not money, as security. Anointed one. Money has a way of becoming a crutch before we even realize it. It whispers safety, independence, and self-sufficiency. God loves you too much to let a temporary resource replace eternal reliance. So He strips away false security until prayer becomes instinct again, until your knees touch the ground before your hands reach for solutions. This is not cruelty. This is intimacy. I have watched people receive sudden wealth before they were spiritually anchored, and I have seen it hollow them out. God knows what abundance does to unprepared hearts. That is why delay often precedes transfer. Integrity must be formed before increase is released. Financial pressure has a way of exposing motives quickly. Are we chasing provision, or are we chasing purpose? Are we serving God, or subtly asking Him to serve our plans? Chosen one. The reason you feel stretched is because you are being aligned. Heaven is examining whether your future resources will glorify God or glorify ego. This is a refining season, not a rejecting one. When wealth comes, it must flow through clean hands and a surrendered heart. There is also something few people talk about openly. Spiritual warfare around finances is real. The enemy understands impact. He knows that once you are resourced, you will not just consume. You will build, give, restore, and break generational cycles. Resistance often intensifies around those marked for influence. That pressure you feel is not proof of failure. It is confirmation of assignment. Chosen one. You are not broke because you are weak. You are restrained because you are dangerous to darkness when fully resourced. God is teaching you how to stand when nothing visible supports you. So when abundance comes, it will not move you off center. This season is shaping your discernment, strengthening your faith, and preparing your spirit to steward what is coming. Heaven does not rush transfers. It perfects vessels, and you are closer than you think. Chosen one. There is another layer to this season that few are willing to face honestly, and it is the issue of spiritual maturity. God does not measure readiness by desire alone. He measures it by depth, obedience, and restraint. Many anointed people want overflow, but they have not yet learned how to carry weight without letting it change their identity. Wealth amplifies what already exists. If insecurity, pride, or impulsiveness are present, money magnifies them quickly. Anointed one. I have seen people pray for provision while still reacting emotionally to pressure, spending impulsively to soothe pain, or seeking validation through material things. God sees beyond the prayer into the patterns. That is why delay is often mercy. Too much too soon can destroy what God intends to establish. Before increase comes discipline. Before overflow comes order. This is not rejection. This is protection. Think about the prodigal son. He received his inheritance before his character was formed, and abundance exposed his immaturity. He lost everything, not because the father was unkind, but because the son was unprepared. God will not release resources into hands that have not learned stewardship in scarcity. If you cannot manage peace with little, abundance will not teach you how. Chosen one. This season is also sharpening your spiritual awareness. Financial pressure strips away distractions and forces clarity. When resources are limited, you become intentional. You listen more closely. You pray more honestly. You begin to discern between opportunities that look good and assignments that are God. This clarity is essential because where you are going, mistakes will be costly. There is also a refining happening in your compassion. Struggle creates empathy that success alone cannot. When you felt the anxiety of unpaid bills or the silence of unanswered emails, you develop a sensitivity toward others walking similar paths. God is shaping you into someone who will not forget where you came from when elevation arrives. Your future generosity is being born in present limitation. I want you to hear this from experience. Seasons of lack taught me how to hear God's voice without noise. They trained me to value alignment over acceleration. They taught me that obedience feeds a soul even when the account is empty. Those lessons became anchors later when provision finally came. Chosen one. Heaven is not slow. Heaven is precise. Scripture reminds us that everything is made beautiful in its time. Natus. God is aligning people, timing, and purpose simultaneously. If even one element is premature, the blessing collapses. That is why waiting is not wasted. Waiting is construction. What you are in right now is not stagnation. It is positioning. You are learning how to live by faith, not by sight. How to trust when numbers do not agree, and how to declare truth before evidence appears. This is the kind of faith that sustains increase when it comes. Remain faithful. Remain teachable. Remain surrendered. The transfer you are believing for is being shaped by the character you are forming now. And heaven does not forget those who endure with humility and trust. Stay steady. Chosen one. Because what God is building within you now will sustain every blessing He entrusts to you later with enduring wisdom. Chosen one. There is a reason financial pressure often intensifies right before alignment shifts. God does not elevate without preparation. and preparation often feels like restriction, when heaven is about to entrust you with more. It first ensures nothing in you will compete with it. That is why scarcity exposes attachments, habits, and motives you did not know were still shaping your decisions. Anointed one. One of the most misunderstood truths is that delay does not mean disapproval. Many people assume God's favor looks like ease, but favor often looks like training. In this season, God is strengthening your discernment so you do not confuse opportunity with assignment. Not every open door is divine, and not every struggle is failure. Some resistance exists because the path you are on matters. I remember a time when I prayed for financial breakthrough, yet every shortcut I considered came with a quiet unrest in my spirit. God was teaching me that provision without peace is not provision at all. He was aligning my values before aligning my resources. That alignment saved me later when greater responsibility arrived and required stability, not impulse. Chosen one. This is also where spiritual warfare becomes subtle. The enemy rarely attacks you directly. Instead, he attempts to exhaust you through delay, doubt, and discouragement. Financial strain is one of his favorite tools because it presses on fear and survival. But Scripture reminds us that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. What you feel is not random pressure. It is targeted resistance against your future influence. Yet, hear this clearly. Resistance does not cancel calling. It confirms it. When pressure increases, it often means proximity to breakthrough has narrowed. God is teaching you endurance now, so abundance will not intimidate you later. Endurance is a muscle, and it is built under weight. There is also a generational dimension to your struggle. Some of you are not just fighting for yourself. You are interrupting patterns of lack, debt, and mismanagement that existed long before you were born. Breaking cycles requires confrontation, and confrontation is uncomfortable. God chose you because you were willing to endure what others avoided. Chosen one. Legacy builders often walk through seasons that feel unfair. But fairness is not the metric of calling. Faithfulness is. You are gaining wisdom through experience, not theory. You are learning how money behaves, how pressure influences decisions, and how faith anchors the mind when circumstances fluctuate. Another truth rarely spoken is that contentment must be formed before increase is sustained. If peace is dependent on provision, abundance will never be enough. God is teaching you how to be anchored in Him, not outcomes. That anchor will keep you steady when success comes and opinions change. You may feel unseen, but heaven is attentive. You may feel delayed, but timing is aligning. God is shaping you into someone who can carry wealth without losing reverence, influence without pride, and success without separation from Him. Stay obedient in the small things. Stay faithful in unseen moments. What is forming now will define how far you go later. This season is not empty. It is purposeful. And what God completes in you here will sustain everything He releases to you next with grace. Chosen one. There comes a moment when God shifts you from surviving lessons into stewardship training. This is where your relationship with provision is recalibrated. Scarcity taught you dependence, but now God is teaching discernment. He is showing you how to hear His voice above urgency, how to pause before reacting, and how to choose obedience over impulse. These are the habits that sustain supernatural increase. Anointed one. Many people pray for overflow without realizing overflow requires structure. God does not pour abundance into chaos. He builds containers first. In this season, He may be teaching you budgeting through discipline, patience through delay, and trust through uncertainty. These lessons feel ordinary, but they become sacred when you realize they are heaven's architecture for your future. I learned this when small acts of obedience mattered more than big prayers. Saying no to what looked profitable but felt misaligned protected me later. Choosing rest when anxiety demanded hustle preserved my clarity. God was training me to move from reaction to intention. That training changed everything when opportunity finally came. Chosen. One another hidden purpose of financial pressure is focus. When resources are limited, distractions lose power. You stop chasing validation and start listening for instruction. God uses this narrowing to refine vision. He removes what is unnecessary so you can recognize what is essential. This clarity will guide you when choices multiply. There is also healing happening beneath the surface. Money exposes wounds tied to fear, control, and worth. God brings these to light, not to shame you, but to heal you. When your identity is no longer tied to numbers, promotion cannot destabilize you. Freedom begins internally, long before it appears externally. Anointed one. Heaven is also watching how you treat people in lack. Do you remain generous in spirit, even when resources are thin? Do you stay humble when overlooked? These responses matter. Character is currency in the kingdom. God promotes those who remain aligned when no one is applauding. Scripture reminds us that seeking first, the kingdom aligns everything else in proper order. This season is ordering you. It is aligning your priorities, so provision does not replace purpose. When wealth comes, it must serve assignment, not identity. Chosen one. If you feel stretched, it is because capacity is increasing. Stretching precedes expansion. God is enlarging your internal framework, so external blessings do not collapse you. You are being trained to carry influence responsibly, not recklessly. Remain attentive. Remain grounded. The same God who limited manna to daily portions is preparing a table for seasons ahead. What you learn now will determine how you steward later. This is not delay. This is divine precision, shaping you into someone who can sustain what heaven is preparing to release. Anointed one. Trust that nothing in this season is wasted. Every sacrifice, every quiet obedience, every unseen tear is recorded. God does not forget those who endure faithfully. When the shift happens, it will feel sudden. But it was constructed slowly. You will recognize that the struggle built strength, the waiting built wisdom, and the pressure built capacity. Stay aligned, stay faithful, and stay surrendered, because what is coming will require the depth you are gaining now. Trust the process completely now. Chosen one. There is a sacred paradox you must understand. In this season, God often limits provision to expand vision. When resources are scarce, your spirit becomes alert. You stop drifting. You start discerning. Heaven is teaching you how to hear instruction clearly before multiplication arrives. This is not accidental. This is intentional alignment. Anointed one. Financial pressure exposes what truly governs your decisions. When money is abundant, it is easy to confuse comfort with calling. But when resources tighten, you are forced to ask better questions. You ask God what truly matters. You ask whether each step is obedience or distraction. That questioning is holy. It recalibrates your inner compass. I remember moments when saying yes felt risky and saying no felt safer. Yet God taught me that safety without obedience is still loss. Scarcity sharpened my ability to recognize His voice. I learned that peace was confirmation, not profit. That lesson preserved me later when opportunities came quickly and discernment mattered more than speed. Chosen one. This is also where humility is formed. Nothing humbles like dependence. When you cannot rely on your own strength or strategy, you lean fully into God. That leaning creates intimacy. Intimacy produces confidence that is not shaken by numbers. When your worth is anchored in Him, financial fluctuation loses its power over your emotions. There is another truth unfolding quietly. God is separating you from comparison. Watching others thrive while you struggle can breed bitterness if you are not careful. But comparison blinds discernment. God removes you from the race so you can walk your own path. What He is building in you cannot be rushed or replicated. Anointed one. Heaven is also teaching you patience with people. When you lack resources, you learn how to treat others without leverage. You learn how to honor without benefit, give without recognition, and serve without reward. These lessons form integrity that money cannot buy. Scripture reminds us that where your treasure is, your heart will be. Also, God is relocating your heart before relocating your finances. He's ensuring that when abundance arrives, it follows purpose, not desire. This protects your soul. Chosen one. You are being prepared to steward influence, not just income. Influence requires wisdom. Wisdom is formed in silence, pressure, and waiting. The world celebrates instant success, but heaven honors endurance. There is nothing wrong with believing for breakthrough, but breakthrough must meet maturity. God is aligning your heart, so provision will not distract you from assignment. That alignment is priceless. Stay faithful in unseen obedience. Stay consistent in prayer. Stay anchored in truth. This season is shaping how you will carry what comes next. When the shift happens, you will recognize it not by noise, but by peace, and you will know that every moment of lack was part of heaven's preparation for sustainable abundance. Lasting impact, and a legacy rooted in obedience and trust forever. Chosen one. There is a point in this journey where God begins to shift your relationship with faith itself. Up to now, faith may have been something you practiced when circumstances allowed. In seasons of lack, faith becomes the only language that sustains you. This is where God trains you to walk by trust rather than evidence. Anointed one. Financial strain strips away the illusion of control. You realize quickly how little certainty money actually provides. Accounts change. Markets shift. People fail. God allows this realization, so your confidence moves from systems to sovereignty. What feels like instability is actually a relocation of trust. I remember standing in moments where numbers said no, doors said closed, and timelines said impossible. Yet God whispered instruction instead of explanation. Obedience became my provision before provision appeared. That obedience built courage that later wealth could not shake. Chosen one. Heaven is also teaching you how to wait without growing bitter. Waiting reveals the posture of your heart. When seasons of waiting become longer than expected, your response matters. Do you lose heart, complain, or continue trusting God's plan? The Lord watches how you wait because waiting reveals the condition of your faith. It shows whether your relationship with Him depends only on what He gives or whether it is rooted in love, trust, and obedience. This season is not about proving yourself. It is about deepening your relationship with Him. At the same time, God is reshaping your understanding of success. The world often measures success by possessions, status, and recognition. But heaven measures it by faithfulness and alignment with God's purpose. Growth is not always visible. Some of the greatest transformations begin within the heart long before they appear in outward circumstances. And every one of those hidden victories is precious in God's sight. Chosen one. There is another reason your journey has unfolded the way it has. God is protecting you from stepping into influence before your foundation is secure. Visibility without spiritual maturity can place enormous pressure on a person and weaken their identity. That is why seasons of obscurity often come before seasons of elevation. God allows deep roots to grow before He raises His people into greater responsibility. The Scriptures remind us that faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we cannot yet see. Through this season, God is teaching you to live from that place of unwavering trust. When greater abundance comes, it will not become your identity because you have already learned contentment, stability, and dependence on Him before receiving it. There is another purpose behind seasons of financial limitation. God is gently removing unhealthy attachments from your life. Certain relationships, habits, expectations, and sources of false security cannot accompany you into the future. He has prepared. Times of scarcity often reveal what truly strengthens your spirit and what has quietly been draining your peace. These seasons also cultivate genuine gratitude. When provision comes one step at a time, even the smallest blessing becomes a reminder of God's faithfulness. Daily needs being met become miracles worth celebrating. That grateful heart becomes a safeguard, ensuring that when greater blessings arrive, they are received with humility rather than entitlement. Anointed one. Never mistake God's quietness for His absence. Some of His greatest works happen behind the scenes, beyond what human eyes can observe. Even now, He is arranging circumstances, preparing relationships, opening the right doors, and aligning every detail with His perfect purpose. Nothing about your journey has been overlooked. Nothing has been forgotten. Every step is unfolding according to His perfect timing. You are being trained to steward peace before stewarding wealth. Peace is what keeps abundance from becoming a burden. God cares more about your soul than your status. That is why preparation feels intense. Remain faithful, even when answers delay. Remain generous, even when resources are limited. These responses build spiritual authority. Authority is what sustains blessing. Chosen one. When the transfer comes, you will recognize it not by chaos but by clarity. What is coming will not confuse you. It will confirm everything God has been forming quietly within you. Stay anchored. Stay obedient. And stay expectant, because heaven finishes what it starts, and your story is still unfolding. Even now, unseen hands are guiding each step toward fulfillment and restoration promised by God alone. Chosen one. As this season stretches on, God is also healing how you see yourself in relation to provision. Many carry silent shame about finances. Believing lack reflects worth. God is dismantling that lie. Your value has never been measured by what you hold, but by who holds you. This healing is necessary because unhealed shame sabotages blessing faster than lack ever could. Anointed one. I have watched people receive abundance only to lose peace, because they never resolved fear. God is resolving fear in you now, fear of not enough, fear of losing control, fear of repeating the past. Scarcity brings these fears to the surface so they can be surrendered. What is confronted can be healed. There is also a divine pruning happening. God removes habits that drain energy, commitments that dilute focus, and mindsets that no longer fit your future. Pruning feels like loss, but it produces strength. When God removes something, it is because something greater requires space. This is preparation, not punishment. Chosen one. Heaven is also teaching you how to hear instruction before increase. Money amplifies decisions. If you cannot hear God clearly in quiet seasons, noise will overwhelm you later. Right now, your spirit is being trained to recognize subtle direction. This discernment will protect you when choices multiply. I remember learning that obedience often looks ordinary. It was choosing consistency over excitement. It was honoring God in private when no reward followed. Those moments felt small, but they built endurance. Endurance became confidence. Confidence became stability. Stability sustained promotion. Anointed one. Another reason finances feel tight is because God is shifting your definition of security. Security rooted in Him cannot be shaken by numbers. When this foundation is set, abundance becomes a tool instead of a threat. God will not give you what could destabilize your identity. Scripture reminds us that God supplies every need according to His riches. Naturs, that supply flows through timing, not pressure. You are learning patience that does not panic, trust that does not manipulate, faith that does not rush. These qualities attract sustainable blessing. Chosen one. Your obedience in this season is louder in heaven than your prayers for increase. Angels respond to alignment, not anxiety. Heaven honors faithfulness, not desperation. Every quiet yes is building momentum you cannot yet see. There will come a moment when provision meets preparation, when effort aligns with opportunity, when peace confirms direction. That moment will not arrive loudly. It will arrive clearly. Chosen one. Remember that God often works invisibly before He acts visibly. Roots grow in darkness before fruit appears in light. What feels hidden is strengthening you. What feels slow is stabilizing you. Heaven values longevity over speed. Your future requires endurance, wisdom, and humility working together. These qualities are forming now, ensuring that what God gives will last, multiply, and bless without compromising peace. Stay rooted, stay honest, stay surrendered. God is not delaying you. He's developing you. And when the transfer comes, you will not question it. You will steward it wisely, carry it humbly, and use it faithfully. This season will make sense in hindsight. For now, remain anchored in trust, because heaven is faithful to complete what it began in you. Or, chosen one, this final layer of preparation is about release, not restraint. God has been loosening your grip on outcomes so He can place greater responsibility into your hands. When you no longer cling to results, you become trustworthy with resources. Heaven releases to those who are free, not those who are desperate. Anointed. One desperation creates noise. Faith creates clarity. God has been quieting your soul so you can hear direction without panic. When provision comes, it will require calm judgment, not survival instincts. This season has been retraining your nervous system, teaching you to respond rather than react. I have learned that some blessings arrive disguised as simplicity. God removed excess so I could recognize alignment. When nothing extra remained, I could see clearly. That clarity saved me later from costly detours. Scarcity taught me precision. Precision protected my purpose. Chosen one. God is also rewriting your relationship with time. Delay has trained you to move intentionally instead of impulsively. You are no longer rushing to prove anything. That shift matters because rushed people mismanage opportunity. Prepared people steward it. There is also restoration happening. What was lost emotionally, spiritually, and relationally is being healed quietly. God restores before He multiplies. Wholeness precedes overflow. When wealth comes, it must rest on a healed foundation or it fractures the soul. Scripture reminds us to seek first the kingdom and everything else follows. God has been realigning your priorities so abundance will serve purpose, not replace it. This alignment attracts provision without striving. Chosen one. You are closer than you feel. What once felt distant is now within reach. The reason pressure intensified was because transition approached. Heaven often tightens focus right before expansion. This is not collapse. This is contraction before birth. Anointed one. Trust what God has built in you. Trust the discernment sharpened through waiting. Trust the wisdom formed through restraint. When opportunity appears, you will recognize it immediately because peace will accompany it. Your story is not behind schedule. It is unfolding precisely. God has seen every sacrifice, every prayer whispered through exhaustion, every choice made without applause. None of it was wasted. Chosen one. When provision shifts, remain grounded. Remember this season. Let gratitude guard your heart. Let generosity flow freely. Let humility remain constant. These qualities will sustain what comes. Heaven does not promote without preparation, and it does not forget obedience. What God is about to release will not overwhelm you because you have been trained to carry it. The struggle refined you. The waiting strengthened you. The silence matured you. Chosen one. Heaven is positioning you where obedience meets opportunity. The doors opening next will require wisdom, restraint, and courage together. You will not step into chaos, but into order established quietly over time. What arrives will confirm. Calling, not create it. You are ready because preparation has been thorough, painful, and faithful. Nothing remains accidental, and nothing ahead will exceed the strength God has already formed within you. Remain full of expectation, but keep your heart surrendered to God's will. The breakthrough that lies ahead is about far more than financial increase. It includes deeper spiritual authority, greater wisdom, lasting peace, and a clearer understanding of your calling. When it unfolds, you will recognize that only God could have prepared you with such care, faithfulness, and purpose. Chosen one. This is a significant season in your journey. Every hardship you endured, every season of limitation, and every door that remained closed was never evidence that God had abandoned you. Instead, each experience became part of His divine preparation. Through every challenge, He has been shaping your character, refining your faith, and removing anything that would hinder the future He has planned for you. Even now, God is moving in ways that cannot always be seen. The gifts he has placed within you are being awakened. What once seemed delayed is beginning to unfold according to his perfect timing. Doors that remained closed for years are preparing to open, and opportunities that once appeared impossible are drawing closer. You are stepping into an appointed season, a time when heaven's purpose becomes increasingly visible in your life. Do not look back on the difficult chapters with regret or embarrassment. Those seasons were not wasted. They became the training ground where your faith grew stronger, your character became steadier, and your dependence on God became deeper. What once felt like loss was often God's way of building an unshakable foundation within you. Seasons of emptiness expanded your capacity to carry greater responsibility. Moments of waiting strengthened your perseverance. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared for the purpose He had already written over your life. Now move forward with confidence in the authority God has given you. Speak words of faith instead of fear. Trust His promises concerning every area of your life, including your finances. Remain firmly rooted in Him, knowing that the God who began His good work in you will faithfully bring it to completion. If this message has encouraged your heart, respond by writing, "I receive it." As a personal expression of faith, share these words with someone who is walking through a season of waiting and needs hope. Stay connected for more messages that strengthen your faith and remind you of God's promises. You are anointed. You are deeply loved. You are chosen for His purpose. Rise with confidence. Continue trusting His leading, and step boldly into the abundant life He has prepared for you.